Alright, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day, a lovely night, wherever you're from. And real quick, before we get started, I want to give a lovely shout out to the channel members on this channel. So thank you so much to these lovely commanders here that you see on screen. Thank you guys so much for your guys' generosity and your support. It really means a lot to me, so thank you guys so much. It always means the best. And if you're actually interested in becoming a lovely commander yourself, if you are interested in any of these cute and lovely emotes, the loyalty crown badges, if you want a special role in the Discord, make sure to join the Discord. But as always, if you choose to do so, thank you so much. Just remember, that's not the only way that you can support me. Just watching the content like you are right now is truly the best way. Liking, subscribing, and commenting, everything really does help. So thank you guys so much. And for today's video, just like yesterday, I want to make more guides for a lot of newcomers here, either to the channel or to Nikke because of the 2nd anniversary. I know a lot of people have a lot of different questions of understanding the game, so I'm trying my best to give you a lot of guides that can be useful. And around every 6 months we get an anniversary, you know, the 0.5s and the full year. I always like to make updated guides for everybody so everybody's catched up to what's going on. And I really don't mind doing them just because it's nice talking to a lot of new people. So if you're new, welcome to the channel. With that being said, just like the title of the video says, we're actually going to be working on the wish list. Now, remember, the wish list is broken down into 3 manufacturers, and you have to get through a little bit of the few chapters to unlock it. So it's not that far, but just make sure you unlock it because it's crucial. Now, remember that you need to choose 5 Nikkes in all 3 manufacturers. And I'm going to be talking about them. I'm not going to try to go through every single one in detail because we're going to be here for a hot minute. But I'm going to give my personal picks and just say why or why not. And let's just get started with the forgotten manufacturer. And that's the Elysion one. Fortunately, Elysion's kind of forgotten, or if we get Nikkes for them, they just haven't been as good, unfortunately. Surely 2025 is going to be the year of Elysion. I can feel it coming, don't worry. But when we get started, we're actually just going to go in order from bursts. So burst 1, honestly, right off the bat, I'm just going to say it. D-Killer Wife is the only option here. D-Killer Wife has amazing utility for a support, great cooldown reduction, and just overall really good, especially for Pierce units like Alice. Remember that we get a free Alice from the day by day, especially if you're new, or you can get more copies from the bonus recruitment every 100 pulls. So that's huge. So having D-Killer Wife on your team will have amazing utilization and just a great overall team comp. Emma over here is a 42nd and I highly don't recommend it. However, Team Absolute seems to be getting an alt. I'm not going to say anything else because it's story related possibly. We don't know anything else. The promo art looks absolutely phenomenal though. So can't wait to see how that works. But not really recommended here. Miranda, her burst is the only thing worth talking about because it has pretty good crit and attack up, and that's usually paired with a Snow White team. But for Elysion, I honestly think that's just not worth it, especially taking a slot now that D-Killer Wife exists. And Zwei over here on the right is kind of just like a mini version of D-Killer Wife, and it's just not worth taking up another slot because it's just not as good, unfortunately. Which is a shame because I was really looking forward to her character. But when we're talking about burst 2s, I'm going to be honest and just say Unwa, obviously like Emma, is getting an alt. Just wait for that because this version sucks. Signal's another launch unit that just was not good. And unfortunately is kind of in need of a treasure or an alt because she's just not good. Diesel's kind of a tricky question because when we're talking about Diesel, she also has a treasure. Now that treasure also has lore purposes. So if you're really interested in the lore and you really want to get it, just know that treasures are pretty much endgame. There's a lot of investment needed. And you also need 2 additional copies on top of the original. So you'd need 3 total. So just be aware. But if you know that and you're still interested, go for it. But just know it's going to be a long time because how investment heavy treasures are. Holy is alright, but she's more kind of catered towards PvP at this point, especially for SP Arena. So just keep that in mind. And honestly, out of everybody here, waifu-wise, I think Mast. If you're trying to make a crit team with like Guillotine or something, you can do that. But I honestly think Marciana here is the best pick because of her healing. She's just a pretty decent burst 2. But for Elysion, she's pretty much the best you got. Now, when we're talking about the burst 3 category, this category is honestly kind of light, unfortunately, especially for 2 years. It's kind of sad. But first things first, I think Privity Maid, even though she is investment heavy, not only does she look phenomenal, but overall, she's pretty damn strong, especially for Elysion Tower, so I highly recommend trying to give her some TLC, because she can put in a lot of good numbers. Now, when it comes to Phantom, Phantom is someone who's interesting, and I mean, like, her kit has a lot of things with her calling card that are kind of weird. She has distributed damage and stuff, but I mean, just like as a consensus, she can be pretty good. I think that she might be a little bit needy, but not as bad as Privity made. So I still recommend her because she's probably the best priority you have right now for Elysion. I honestly should invest in my Phantom because I don't think I even have her in Synchro yet. There's so many Nikkes that you need to like invest in, and I have so little mats, man. It sucks. Now with one spot left, what can you do? I honestly don't think D deserves it at this point because there's just so many better units out there. Maiden is good for PvP. Kiri, Vesti, and Celine are just not up to snuff. And when we're talking about some characters like Brid, she's alright, but she's not the best that you can have here, especially for a wish list. Helm, and I think Privity over here, if you're trying to get max limit break, is probably the best bet. I personally recommend putting Privity here because in terms of trying to get through the 160 wall, remember that you get a free copy of Privity. So on top of that, if you could get more, that'd be even better. Privity was actually my first character that I got via the SSRs, just, you know, from the first 10 pull. So I just went with that. But I personally love Privity, so I'm a little biased with saying that. Guillotine's good too, but she's just heavy investment as well with crit stuff. So just bear that in mind. But, you know, let's just say that's our team for Elysion. Now, what about Missilis? Now, in terms of Missilis, it's not going to be as complicated because our girl Litter, since day one, has still been the extreme powerhouse that she is. Still probably one of the best burst ones in the game, or arguably the best in the game. As much as I love my girl Pepper, she's just like alright for a healer. I think there are so many spots here that it's just hard to try to justify Pepper. Jackal's really, really good for PvP, so if you really want to get into PvP, Jackal's almost a must, honestly. Tuve's good for the shotgun team, but I don't think I'm going to put her on this wish list because I think the schoolgirls, especially with Tia, still really, really good, especially if you pair her with Naga. Even if you don't pair her with Naga, she's kind of good just to have for her cover because the shield that she has is just extremely good. So I highly recommend having these two at least for the Missilis category in Burst 1. Burst 2 is kind of easy because as much as I love my girl Eleg, you know, she's number 1. So she doesn't even deserve to be here because she's number 1. You know what I mean? Like she just should, everybody should just have her. Honestly, Naga is still the best. Naga's the cream of the crop. She's also part of the meta. Kind of overshadowed Tia, honestly, just because she has more utilization. She's just really helpful and really good healing. Senti used to be a part of like a god team with Litter back in the day, but now it's just kind of falling off, but she's still not bad by any means. Admi is just not that great. Uni could be good if she got a treasure, and I kind of hope she gets one in the future, but who knows? But yeah, no, I think honestly the only burst 2 you should worry about here is coming from Naga. Now, when we're talking about burst 3, there's a lot to talk about for the burst 3s. So, I really like Laplace. Remember, Laplace does have a treasure. So, just keep that in mind, that if you're interested in that. I really like Laplace. But I think she's kind of fallen off a bit. You know, she's good in some certain circumstances, especially with solo raid. Same thing with Drake, but just a lot better out there. Pro's garbage. Let's just leave it at that. Epinol is just not good. Maxwell, if you have Snow White, Maxwell can have really good usage. But outside of that, I can't really recommend it just for wishlist because it's kind of a competitive category. Julia, I was surprised that we saw Julia in the live stream because I was like expecting them to forget about her because she's just not good and they just don't give her enough TLC. I don't know why. I think Ein for sure is just a really good character. Even 777, she's just really good. She's a powerhouse. Surprisingly so. Highly recommend Ein. Trony if you like feet, which is, you know, a plus here, so I think you should put her here, honestly. But if we're talking about another character, Quincy's just really good, even though she has SMGs. A lot of her gimmicks, especially with the distributed damage, make her really damn good. And I'm just gonna say it. Look, the ass is all you need to know. I'm just saying. The ass is all you need to know. Like, that looks right there. It's just why it should be on your wish list. I'm just saying. She's one of the best idols in the game. But other than that, I think this is honestly a pretty good loadout that I would recommend for a wish list. Like I said, there are other options, but this is my recommendation. Now, when it comes to Tetra, when we're talking about a burst 1, there's a lot of burst 1. Tetra is a really filled category, so you're gonna have to bear with me for a second. This version of Ludmilla is not that great. She's alright. But when we're talking about Ludmilla, we're usually talking about Winter Ludmilla, which is a burst 3. And she is going to possibly come back for a rerun in the winter coming up. Don't quote me on that, but I'm just expecting that to happen just like last year. So we'll see. Noise is a good healing taunter, especially for PvP. I feel like she's more focused for PvP now, but I really wouldn't put her in this like category. Soda and Coco are not that great. There's a better version of Soda. I think volume, even though Rouge has done a lot, I still recommend this character just because not only does she just look great, but she's still really solid for a burst 1 with her CDR. Exia also has a treasure, so bear that in mind. She's really good on electric team comms, and I'm interested to see how she works more with Cinderella, so I'll have to look forward to that. Milk is just not that good, unfortunately. She has an underrated MLB wallpaper though, so keep that in mind. Yan is not that good, unfortunately, and I love her design, so that sucks. Rosanna is not that good, but her summer variant is, but unfortunately that is limited as well, similar to Winter Ludmilla, so keep that in mind. Prima also has a treasure, but I still, I don't recommend it. Mary is just not that good. Summer Mary's good, but once again, limited. Bunny Alice is actually pretty good with specific comps, like the shotgun team, for instance, but the shotgun team has so much investment, which is why I've been hesitant on putting them on the wish list, because I don't think that they're beginner friendly at all, especially with the amount of investment that you need. Now, once again, when we're talking about Sakura here, I think Summer Sakura is better. I don't think she's that great. Moran is really good if you like PvP, so keep that in mind. Romani is just not that great in my opinion. Rouge, though, is probably the best first one in this spot right here. I highly recommend it. Not only is she my favorite NPC, and I'm glad they did her justice, but really, really good. And she's actually been doing numbers for Cinderella, so keep that in mind because of her max HP. Now, with burst 1 out the way, let's talk about our burst 2s, because this one's actually kind of easy to talk about, because although there's a lot, there's, not really a lot to talk about here, because the bunny girls are the best thing. Blanc is probably the best thing here to talk about without argument. Biscuit should be here if you really enjoy PvP, because she's a powerhouse in PvP. I love my girl Rupee, but she kind of fell off. Novel, I've seen some interesting use cases with her, but not so much. Dala is still alright, but I'm just telling you, man, it's just, Blanc is just an insane. Leona, once again, for the shotgun team, but I just don't recommend it for new people. Viper has a treasure, but, that's investment heavy, so we don't really talk about that. So we're just going to head on over to the burst 3 category. Now, once again, burst 3 category is easily going to be, first, the other bunny girl, Noir. And then here, it's a toss-up. Yolha is just not that great in my opinion. Sugar's a pretty good shotgun unit. Same thing with Soda Bunny, but she also needs a lot of investment because of her coin gimmick. I would honestly still put Alice here because she benefits a lot even from dupes. So I personally think this is probably the best outcome that you can go for. If you really don't want additional copies, you don't care for MLB, because you're already done with the wall, or you already got other characters for the wall, so you're fine. Then I recommend either going, Sugar or Soda Bunny. In my opinion, because I'm a simp for Soda, I'm going to go with Soda. But once again, all up to you what you want to do. At the end of the day, you can either put waifus here or meta. I mostly focus on the meta here, but at the end of the day, you don't have to listen to me. That's going to be it for me. I know that was a lot of yapping, but I hope that was interesting. I hope that was informative. If you have any questions about any other characters, please let me know in the comments. As always, I love trying to help everyone. I try to respond to everybody. But for now, that's going to be it for me. So I hope you guys have a lovely day, a lovely night, wherever you're from. And as always, thank you so much for the constant support. You guys are the best. Take care.